The Grid Link project is an estimated 500 million investment in the national electricity grid linking Cork to County Kildare. At a proposed height of 45 metres, the 400 kV pylons erected would tower over existing pylons, homes and untouched landscape. However, it is not the visual aspect that the people located along the proposed overhead corridor are mainly concerned about. For most, the main concern is the health of future generations.
First I heard was, I got a phone call from a guy I work with and he said, did I know anything about the proposed pylon? So literally when I looked it up, there's a 1 kilometre wide purple line which shoots right over our house and across our front field for one of the proposed 4 lines going from Kildare to Cork. With 400 kV lines running 300 metres apart, down the side, we could come across the front of our house, down the side and right across the back here. I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and although I have a very busy life, I felt I have to take time out and this is something I have to deal with. A group of us that it's affecting directly came on board to try and inform people, let them know, and I suppose fight for what we believe is our rights and our children and our future generations. 800 submissions we sent in to say that people didn't want it, mainly because of health reasons, secondly because of the environmental impact, and in the small area 53 farmers have all signed documents here to say that they will not negotiate with Eirgrid. They don't want pylons on their land. There is alternative options. We want the government to see sense and listen to the people. We were lucky enough to be left this our house here in this bit of land, and my children are the first children here in 120 years. And basically I feel that we're caretakers of this land at the moment, and I suppose for us on our watch, we don't want. I don't want to, after 120 years, for us to be the people to allow the government to bombard and destroy the place and, you know, affect our kids. And if there's even 1% chance that my children can get leukemia from this, I would go to jail than let Eirgrid come here and come through our house and put these pylons overground, especially when there's alternative options. There is studies out there to show that there is, the closer a child is to a power line, that there is cause for concern in relation to your children getting leukemia. If there's even 1% chance, I don't believe that Eirgrid or the government should take that chance on my children or anybody else's children out there.
Eirgrid has put itself on a collision course with local communities who have recently woken up to the reality that their home and neighbourhood may be transformed forever.
I was at a neighbour's house one night and there was a leaflet on the table, like, and I just picked it up and I just looked down through it and I seen Knock-and-Ree on it. I said, Pat, that's coming our way. And like where we are here now, the Eirgrid line, if it was to come this way, would be coming there from that north direction, right down across here, heading on there towards the Yellow Forward Rathbilly. That's the direction it would be going. They would have a big consequence. The first of all, to be in the way, and then there's the whole thing about the magnetic field and like health issues. There's so many problems around pylons. This farm and all the other farms in the area are all in this corridor.
The electromagnetic fields emitted by the pylons themselves has been the subject of much debate. Studies have shown that prolonged exposure to electromagnetic fields have an adverse effect on human health and are linked beyond reasonable doubt to adult and childhood leukemia, as well as adult brain tumours.
I think it's probably a case that the vast majority of people really assume that the magnetic fields can't have an effect on human beings, and that's really because we are enveloped in the Earth's magnetic field, as everybody knows, and we have played with permanent magnets like this type of simple magnet, and we assume that these magnets have no effect on human health. Moving magnetic fields have the capacity to have serious health effects on the nervous system of the human being, the immune system of the human being, and various other systems. The international scientific committee that the EU has established called CENER, which is the scientific committee that investigates newly identified health risks, they have even especially picked out people with pacemakers as a very, very special case, using a moving magnetic field, like a little magnetic field like this, but just moving a magnetic field around a wire connected up to an ammeter, and you can show that that generates currents. Now you can see when you bring this magnet near any part of the wire there, if it's static, it doesn't have any effect on the ammeter, so no current is being generated. However, for a moving magnetic field anywhere near the wires, like that, or down through the wires, you can see the effect on the ammeter. All these turns here on the coil of wire here really are similar to the mass of neurons in your brain, which are also conductors, just like these wires. So who knows how the effects of these changing magnetic fields, generating currents in that wire and in our brains, are affecting our health? Nobody really knows. The question is, do we want to take the risk?
This alone should justify putting the cables on the ground, regardless of cost. However, the EU claims that there is no such evidence to suggest that overhead power cables increase the risk of childhood leukemia or other forms of cancer.
The health is definitely an issue. The fact is, research has shown that there are clusters of childhood leukemia wherever there are these overhead power lines. Now this is an issue for anyone who's on the line, including a number of schools which are on the corridors for the Eirgrid pylon routes. That's something that's going to be a worry for any parents. Studies have shown that these power lines can affect pacemakers, which means that anyone with a pacemaker, and I have a pacemaker, the pacemaker operation can be affected when you're in close proximity to one of these overhead power lines. The only way around this is to stay inside your house, where there'll be less effect from the overhead power lines. But it would mean that you would be trapped inside your house. Every time you go outside or stay in the vicinity of these power lines, you might be running the risk of having an ill effect on your pacemaker, and that could be seriously detrimental to your health. It can shut down the pacemaker, which obviously is a bad thing if you're dependent on the pacemaker for keeping your heart going. Or it can reset it, which also is not a good thing. You have to go into hospital then and get your pacemaker reset, and in the meantime you could collapse, or you might not be able to do anything. So these are all effects that can happen. It's not just the people, which are obviously the most important, but also the livestock and the livelihood of any farmers who have land in the area as well. In any case, running them underground makes more sense for the people of Ireland, for the people on the routes, and for the country in general.
This begs the question, are our government more concerned about the cheapest alternative rather than the health and safety of the people?
Really and truly what this campaign, as far as I'm concerned, is about kind of doing something meaningful within an energy in Ireland, and not doing something that's just about a quick fast buck due to ignorance and due to greed. Why am I against it? Well, principally because it's not necessary. Not only is it not necessary to put pylons above the ground, but it's not necessary to have as much of the grid as the government is suggesting that we need to have. If we need an infrastructure, because we do believe we need to improve the energy in Ireland, if we need a good infrastructure, the idea is that we put them partially underground so that we don't cause the same kind of health concerns or environmental concerns as putting them above the ground. The government don't really have an energy policy, you see. They suddenly decided that they wanted to create all this renewable energy, and as part of building this renewable energy on behalf of Europe, they put this grid all around Ireland. The Engineers Association of Ireland have already told us we don't need any more new energy until 2020. So to some extent this is not about the Irish people and about the Irish people's energy requirements. It's about I suppose profit for the government, profit for the country in relation to energy. People come to Ireland principally because of the unspoiled landscape. What the government are doing is they're spoiling the landscape, they're spoiling people's health, they're affecting farmers, and for no good, logical, moral or even economic reason. I'm Irish, I'm proud to be Irish. I want us to continue being a place of purity, a place of freedom, a place of beauty, and put them on the ground, review the entire policy, and everything's going to be okay in the future. No pylons for County Wicklow, no pylons for Ireland as far as I'm concerned.